Earlier today, Pope Leo XIV met privately with cardinals and is set to give an Easter blessing from the balcony tomorrow overlooking St. Peter's Square. Yesterday, the Pope celebrated his first Mass as pontiff at the Sistine Chapel. Here's some of what he said.
Through the ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me as we continue as a church, as a community of friends of Jesus, as believers, to announce the good news, to announce the gospel.
The 69-year-old was born in Chicago, educated at Villanova, and spent most of his life in northern Peru, where he worked as a missionary. He became a bishop and then the head of the Augustinian order, and was appointed a cardinal by Pope Francis in 2023. During his time as a cardinal, Robert Prevost was active on social media, criticizing Vice President J.D. Vance in this post on X earlier this year, writing, "J.D. Vance is wrong. Jesus doesn't ask us to rank our love for others." Joining us now is Father Robert Hagen, the 41st prior provincial at the Augustinian province of St. Thomas of Villanova and longtime friend of Pope Leo. Father, you know the Pope as Bob. What was your first reaction when his name was announced? What was that like for you?
I can't believe this is happening to Bob. We were all in what we call the Augustinian Friary. It's just across the street from Villanova University with staff and some Villanova graduates. And when that name was announced and he emerged on the balcony, I mean, we were flabbergasted, just full of all kinds of emotion. People were crying, shouting out, expressing all kinds of emotional joy. And just so happy, certainly for the Augustinians, my brothers around the world, but really for the world, that this, we know now, Pope Leo XIV to be a really good man, incredibly bright, speaks multiple languages, and not just the languages, but immerses himself in other cultures, and at the same time has a certain humility and approachability. And, he was a math major, and I think that there's a certain kind of logic to his thinking. He's very clear when he speaks and he writes. I think people will find him relatable. He has a sense of humor. He loves to tell a good story. And so I think we really have a man for the times who has a lot of gifts. And that, ultimately, the cardinals were in that conclave, but as people of faith, we believe that the Holy Spirit was behind this, that the hand of God was involved in choosing this man to now share his leadership gifts and compassion and love with all of us around the world.
Father Hagen, I love that you mentioned that he was a math major. I've been enjoying all of the math puns, the very sweet math puns that have been going around about a higher power and sin and sign and all of that. But I am curious, what do you think Pope Leo's focus will be? What his main issues will be as the new Pope?
One of the things he mentioned in the beginning, and as Augustinian brothers, we were very happy to hear him say that he is a son of Augustine. And so Augustine lived in the late 300s, early 400s. He was a sinner before he was a saint. He chased a lot of things that you and I and a lot of us chase in the world in terms of temptation and distraction. And he came to the realization that, a lot of that is just noise and distraction, that what really matters is our love of God and our love of neighbor. And ultimately, at the end of the day, there's really one question that we're going to be asked, and that is, how do we treat one another? And so I think that is the premise. That's the core of the rule of St. Augustine. And I really think that will be the GPS that he uses in terms of his decision-making and policy, and as he, begins to lead.
Father Hagen, I want to go back to something you said that I thought was so beautiful. You said a man for the times. And I think a lot of people right now are reading about the times that we find ourselves in, especially here in this country, and whether or not there is a bigger message in the fact that the College of Cardinals selected an American pope who for many thought that was never going to happen, that America already carried so much power around the world, for them now to have one of the most powerful spiritual positions in the world in the hands of an American. I'm curious your thoughts on connecting those two for us, and whether you see an interplay between the fact that he is an American pope at a time that many are very critical of where America's moral standing is in the world.
This is our last Trump mystery box drop. Next time you see this, it'll be gone. We're giving away Trump mystery box.
It's a wonderful question. And I think, as Americans, I think most of us are proud to be Americans. And yet at the same time, we know the perception around the world is not without some merit, that we have flaws. We have challenges. We make mistakes. And so I think that in Pope Leo XIV, I think we have someone who really represents what's best about American ideals and values. He stands for the justice of all people. He stands for the poor, that everyone should have opportunity. He stands for the fact that we all have equal rights and that we're all made in the image and likeness of God, and everyone should be treated with dignity and respect. So you couple that then with where he's gone in his journey through life. He's spent 2/3 of his life outside the United States, in places like Trujillo and Chulucanas, with the poorest of the poor in Peru, and understanding and really shaped him in the sense that we're all God's people, that everyone needs those opportunities, and that no one has a monopoly on those values, no matter what country you're in, or what race or what economic standing. And so I think what we have in a pope is someone who really truly believes that we're all children of God, no matter where we come from.
Have you texted with him, Father? Do you still have his cell phone number by any chance?
I have this job as prior provincial, and that's a job that he had many years ago for the Midwest. And so when I was elected to that job, one of the first emails I got was from him, congratulating me, offering me his prayers and support. I think that he felt he could identify with maybe some of the challenges and responsibilities that I now have in this job. And so I returned the favor. I sent him an email that
So
probably
beautiful.
got buried in a sea of emails that he must have gotten. And at midnight last night, I got a return email just acknowledging the gratitude for the prayers and support. So
Can you still call him Bob?
Do you still? Yeah.
I addressed him as His Holiness. He signed it, Bob. So I don't know how that's going to go.
Well, incredible.